This is the Media Police Post, broadcasting from the Fort Hall School of Government. In this show, we police the state of truth in the Republic. And because truth is communicated to us by journalists and analysts, we have made it our civic duty at the Fort Hall School of Government to put it to the test. We advance from two confirmed truths about the media. One, and according to Roger Stone, the media is either lazy or evil, and for the most part, it is both evil and lazy. That is why their truth, must be put to a test. Two, that journalism is verified gossip. In fact, what is presented to us as news analysis is gossip that has been verified by journalists. This gossip has to be ground truthed. We will assess the state of truth in what they submit to the Republic, and we will pass verdict on what is true and what is not. For the record, we are not journalists. We are thinkers. We are not lazy or evil, and we do not verify gossip. What we give you is the truth that sets you free. On today's show, we will discuss ideas that reflect unformed and uninformed opinions and ideas that made you stupid. Narratives that fell into the cognitive trap of we see things as we are, not as they are. Narratives based on conjecture, history, and those that smack of envelope journalism. Welcome, AX and Mo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, please allow me to get started. Today, I would like to take a different approach in my discourse. Instead of responding to one article or column that made me feel stupid, allow me to address everyone. In the past week, coverage on the KIAMBAA by-election has overemphasized the significance of the election without telling us why it is so significant. And in so doing, the coverage has made me feel stupid. Therefore, thank you, Kenyan media, for dulling me into a sense of political apathy, when in fact, I should be curious. As I've said, current coverage of the by-election has emphasized its dramatic nature. An election set against the horrors of the 2007 post-election violence and involving the man who the ICC believed to be responsible for sparking the violence. And the fact that this man seems to have passed the test. This coverage is obvious because it does not tell the Kenyan public what the victory means, merely that it happened. The media's job is not simply to tell you that it is raining outside, but to let you know why it is raining, how it is raining, and what the rain means for your hair. And on all accounts, our current media landscape has failed. What does it mean that UDA only won with 510 votes? What does it mean for RUTO to have a foot in Gema's backyard? And is a foot a whole body? What does this all mean? Is the KIAMBAA by-election as significant as the media would have us believe? Seeing as the media has failed to answer these questions, we at the Fort Hall School of Government must do their work for them once again. It is the only way to spark the curiosity that, when left unattended, will kill the proverbial cat. First, UDA's narrow victory means that the hustler narrative is not as persuasive as the Duke of Hustlings would have us believe. The Duke has had to work twice as hard to win by a slim majority, and given that he will need 90% of Gema to secure the throne, he will need to work at 180% in order to have the ground reflect the reality in his head. Because half of the people who turned out did not vote for UDA, but another party. Which leads me to answer my second question. RUTO's foot in Gema is not a foot, but a toe. And a toe does not a body make. But since UDA and the media has been quick to turn KIAMBAA into an indicator for the 2022 election, let us follow this thread to its logical conclusion. KIAMBAA shows us that UDA will need to work twice as hard to achieve half as much. KIAMBAA shows us that more people will vote against UDA than for UDA. And KIAMBAA shows us that UDA does not have the support of most Kikuyus, and yet the UDA team celebrates early. All in all, the high-octane coverage of the previous week through headlines like high drama as Jubilee and UDA crash to drama in battle for KIAMBAA, the media keeps telling us that it is raining, but it does not tell us why it matters or if it should.
Thank you, AX.
You're welcome.
So I'll follow up on AX's thoughts on how the running theme in the media post-KIAMBAA has been to attack Jubilee. In one article, the writer called Jubilee's loss of KIAMBAA a national shame. In another article, the writer said that Jubilee's loss was humiliating and that, I quote, the party must be re-engineered as a national heritage, not a special purpose vehicle. The media coverage left me feeling stupid because the loss of a by-elections is by no means evidence of national shame. In every game, there are both winners and losers, but the analysis of the game should go beyond the outcome. Unlike these writers, we have a theory as to what losing KIAMBAA means for Jubilee. In our view, Jubilee was using the KIAMBAA by-election to carry out a stress test on Gemma. In technology, stress testing verifies the stability and reliability of a software application. Stress testing has two main goals. One, to measure how robust the software in question is, and two, to measure the software's ability to handle errors, especially under heavy load conditions. The KIAMBAA stress test was valuable to Jubilee for the following reasons. It allowed Jubilee to check whether how well its system in Gemma worked under abnormal conditions. For instance, when you have a rogue deputy party leader, come on. It also enabled Jubilee to calculate and mitigate the potential voter loss pre-2022, and it alerted Jubilee to where unknown fractures may lie. And I can guarantee that because of this test, we will witness a mass exodus from the party in the next few weeks, months, more forced than voluntary. Let me remind you, the Political Parties Act states that a person shall not be a member of more than one political party at the same time. Furthermore, a person who, while being a member of a political party, promotes the ideology, interest, or policies of another political party shall be deemed to have resigned from the previous political party. You see, we all know the popular faces in Tanga Tanga, and you cannot be in both Jubilee and UDA. You people must choose one.
Yes.
One last thing, the evidence of the fighting in Jubilee is that the current team who make up the system cannot work under abnormal conditions like the upcoming 2022 elections. A purge is in order. Think of it this way. Before boiling rice or dengu, you must sieve the good grain from the bad. Otherwise, it will give you indigestion. Mutaumwa na tumbo, mokoreo neda.
We're speaking French now.
Here we are.
As we take stock of last week's KIAMBAA by-election, we can summarize our view in this way. All things remaining constant, everything is as it should be. UDA may understandably be in a celebratory mood, but as they savor their victory in the moment, history may wish to offer some lessons. History may want to tell us about a Greek king named Pyrrhic of Epirus, from whom we derive the term Pyrrhic victory, which refers to a triumph that is as good as a defeat because of the cost at which the victory is attained. Despite all his achievements, Pyrrhic is immortalized in history because of two battles that he won, but more importantly, how winning those battles cost him everything eventually. Currently, UDA has won 3 seats, London and Rural wards and KIAMBAA. But let us focus on King Pyrrhic for now. King Pyrrhic was a man consumed by ambition and was keen on carving out an empire by first making himself master of Italy and eventually dominating the Mediterranean region and North Africa. He was confident because, in addition to his small army, he had been promised an even bigger army by a wealthy city-state known as Tarentum. For our purposes, let us think of Tarentum as Gemma. When Pyrrhic arrived in Tarentum, however, he realized he had been tricked. The wealthy Tarentines had not assembled their army, leaving Pyrrhic to do it for himself, and so he began to assemble an army of Tarentines as fast as possible. Meanwhile, Pyrrhic's arrival in Tarentum caught the attention of the Romans. For our purposes, let us think of the Romans as the owners of capital. The Romans knew of Pyrrhic's reputation, and so they took note of what Pyrrhic was doing. Soon, the Pyrrhic's army and the Romans met in battle in a town called Heraclea. We can think of this as both London ward and Rural ward. In this battle, Pyrrhic used elephants, a secret weapon, and in the same way that UDA used MPs to campaign for MCAs. And so Pyrrhic won that battle. His fame spread and more people joined his army. But despite the win, Pyrrhic realized he may have underestimated the Romans. He decided to try and negotiate a peaceful settlement, saying, "Come, let us reason together." The problem, however, is he tried to force these negotiations hastily and on his terms. And to ensure compliance, he marched with his army to Rome and threatened another battle. The Romans, who were not easily intimidated and who did not take well to threats, proudly rejected the offer. So the two sides met in battle again, this time at a place called Asculum. We can call this KIAMBAA. The battle was fierce, and although the Romans seemed to have the edge, unfortunately, some of the Roman generals underestimated Pyrrhic, and so Pyrrhic again gained advantage and won. Some of these Roman generals would later be replaced with more competent and committed generals. In the meantime, Pyrrhic had won again, but history tells us that because of the enemy he had chosen, he did not have the resources and the support to sustain his campaign to the end. Eventually, he lost the war despite winning the battles. And this is the problem with Pyrrhic victories. Initially, the prospect is enticing before one begins, but the farther one goes, the harder it becomes to pull back. That is why one must look beyond the obvious costs to the intangible ones. The goodwill you may squander by waging war, the fury of the loser if you win. History is littered with corpses of people who ignored the costs. Now that the patron saint of UDA has shown his hand and trespassed into the president's backyard, now that he has offered a clearer target that the silent majority can now focus on and speak out against, now that the Rubicon has been crossed and we are at a point of no return, now that Rome's hand has been forced, the question that the patron saint of UDA must ask himself is this: in the final analysis, will it have been worth it? From where we sit, we reiterate, everything is as it should be. Thank you for joining us on the Media Police Post. See you next Monday.
See you next Monday.